We are here very honored and privileged to have our distinguished speaker, Professor Yifu Lin, to be our guest of honor today. Professor Lin is Dean of National School of Development at Peking University and the former Senior Vice President and Chief Economist of the World Bank. He was awarded honorary doctoral degree by 5 universities in Europe, USA, and Hong Kong. Today, Professor Lin is going to deliver a lecture on his area of expertise entitled Demystifying the Chinese Economy. I'm extremely grateful for him to come to our campus to deliver this speech. Let us give a warm welcome to Professor Lin.
I'm delighted to come back to Chinese University of Hong Kong because I was here in 2008 before I went to the World Bank, and I just finished my job at the World Bank. So I think it's time for me to come back to share with you some of my insight. The first one was how come China could achieve such a rapid economic growth rate since the economic transition started? How come it was possible? And the second question I'd like to share with you is that how come China could not have a similar economic performance before the economic transition in 1979? If economic transition is the magic for China's success, then the question is that why other transitional economies could not have similar performance as the Chinese economy during the transition period? Because we know most other transitional economy in East European country, former Soviet Union, they collapsed, stagnant for a long time. And my first question is that what kind of prices China paid to its success? Because everything has two sides. There are some achievement, but there are also some drawbacks. And what are the drawbacks? And what are the reasons for that, and how to deal with that? And the fifth question is very important for many young people here. Can China maintain such a type of dynamic economic growth in the coming years? Because as I mentioned recently, there's a lot of prediction that Chinese economy will collapse soon again. Whether that kind of prediction has some valid point or not, whether China can continue its dynamic economic growth in the coming years. And my last question is that, will other developing countries have similar performance? Or can they have a similar performance as the Chinese economy? Because our goal is prosperity, not only for the Chinese people. We also hope other people can have a similar prosperities. But can they duplicate the success of Chinese economy? Those are the 6 questions I'd like to share with you. And recently, I published a few books. Okay, the first book is related to what I just talked about, the Chinese economy. I call that Demystifying the Chinese Economy, and the Chinese version of that called 解读中国经济. So I would recommend you to have a look at that book. Maybe you can borrow that from the library. And the second book is, try to provide my understanding of the process of economic development. And how come in this process that the important thing is understanding the nature of development, the nature of structural changes. And in this process, what's the appropriate role for the market and what's the appropriate role for the governments? And a third book called The Quest for Prosperity. In this book, I explain my idea about the new structural economics. And it also reflects my experiences as the chief economist of the World Bank. And the last book, called 本体and 常无, because I found since the Second World War, almost all the countries in the European world, they wanted to modernize their nations. And it follows the policy recommendation based on the advanced theory developed in the high-income countries. And every country followed that approach failed. So I think we need to have a reflection. We need to understand the reality, the challenges of developing countries. And in this understanding, the way for you to understand it is that you should not be influenced by the existing theory and experience in the past. And so you need to have an attitude I call 常无. You have nothing in your mind. And no theory in your mind. And it's a concept, it's a philosophy from Lao Tzu. 故常无欲以观其妙. If you ask which book I like the best, this is the best book I like. So thank you very much.